Hey, this is John Luke. I just want to talk to you a little bit about faith today. As you've seen on the show, that's what my family is all about. That's what I've grown up with, is faith. My grandpa has more faith than anyone I've ever seen. My parents follow that. They love God. I've grown up in church my entire life, and everything I know about the Bible, I've learned from them, from church, and I know a good bit. But there was a time when I had to develop my own faith. I had to do my own math and figure it out myself. No, it wasn't easy, and I messed up a lot. When the show happened, it totally rocked my world. It changed everything, except for that. Everything in my life changed, and that was particularly difficult to stay on task, to keep going to church Sunday, to keep doing the habits that I've grown up with. And I'm glad I did it. We live by faith every day. I set my alarm to get up in the morning for school, and I have faith that it's gonna go off and it's gonna get me up. It doesn't always work. I've missed many a first hour of school, and now 2 ACTs this year because something went wrong with my alarm. After that, I get up and I get ready to get dressed and I go to school. And I get in my car and I put the key in and I turn it. I have faith that when I turn the key, the car is gonna start. It's gonna get me to school. I trust my car. I don't get up early and go and check the engine and make sure everything's running, it's got gas. No, I'm just kind of trusting that when I turn it on, it's gonna start and it's gonna get me to where I'm going. Now it's the same thing in our Christian walk. It's the same thing with God. When I do things like this, and I talk to people, and I share my faith, the faith that I know, that I've learned, and it's not always easy, and it's that even when everything in life changes, that God is going to be there. I trust Him. I see Him in every aspect of my life. When I wake up, I look outside, I see the birds, take a big old breath of fresh air, and I look around and I see the colors and the light and the warmth, and I know that God is here. He is here when everything else is gone.
Some people, when they look at my family, they actually think it's a ridiculous faith. Perhaps redonkulous. Because they look at us based on our external appearance and they think we're either a bunch of wild, crazy people who are just cutting up every way possible, or they think we're homeless, or they think we're a threat. So as they come closer and see who we are, they realize that we are people of faith because we have placed our faith in a being, specifically Jesus Christ. Up until I was 14 years old, I was a pretty shy guy. I hunted and fished a lot, but I didn't say a whole lot out in public, and people kind of viewed me as socially shy, and that was a correct assertion. I'd just soon be in the woods and hunt and fish and do my own thing. But once I put my faith in Christ, I realized that this is not something that I was going to be able to be silent about. Plus, I started noticing girls for the first time, and I realized, if I don't have a conversation with a girl, I'm probably not going to get a date. So I said, I need to be a little more vocal about my faith, and at the same time, maybe I can get a date if I can find a spiritual woman who shares the same views about Christ that I do. So that was my plan. The problem was, whenever I would go to school or I would get out in public, I would get a little nervous about speaking up, especially about my faith. And then I had an instance where everything changed. When I was in high school, we had landlines for phones. You had to walk over, grab the phone, it's plugged into the wall, and if you want to talk to somebody, you push the numbers and you're right there. There were no cell phones. So I had an interesting call one night at about midnight, but it was right after I had just prayed about being more vocal and bold about my faith. And the person that called me just sat there. I don't know if it was a prank caller or they planned on just sitting there. So I was fixing to hang up because I was like, hello, hello, hello. And then it hit me. I thought, here I am struggling with sharing my faith, and I have a person calling me who is just sitting there. So just like a light switch, I just said, you know what? I'm glad you called, because I've been wanting to share my faith in Christ, and I've been unable to do so in public because I'm shy. So I'm going to share with you what I'm in on. And I started right there, and I introduced this unknown caller to Jesus Christ. Now, after about 10, 15 minutes, I kept trying to get them to say something, and they wouldn't respond. But I could tell someone was there because I would hear the phone go down, and then I heard pages rustling, and I assumed that they were following along in their Bible. So this Bible study went on for 3 hours. I basically ran out of material. And I said, look, I'm sleepy. I appreciate you calling. I feel good about this. Why don't you call back tomorrow night? Same time.
When I came into high school, I decided that I was gonna try every sport. I wanted to be good at sports, and I mean I'm decently athletic, and I was like, if I practice hard enough, I can do it. So I started, and I played football, which I actually wasn't too bad at. But when the show started, I took that away because I just didn't have time for that. It was in the same time, and it just kind of messed things up, and so I kind of had to pick. So then I moved on to basketball, and I was rolling in basketball. I was good. This bench I'm sitting on, same thing the entire year. I never got off of it. One game, the last game of the year, coach put me in. I was so ready. I got in. I shot one time. I made it. And I walked back down and said, Coach, take me out. I'm done. I'm done with this. That's it. I rode that bench the entire year, and that's when I figured, well, okay, maybe basketball is not the thing for me. After that, I went and I tried baseball. And I'd never played baseball my whole life. But I was like, I'll just give it a try. I think it'll be good. And it's kind of the same as basketball. I got in one game, and the only reason I got in that game was because the other team showed up. And it wasn't like a real in-season game, but they didn't have enough people to play. So they said, so either they forfeit or we sent someone from our team to their team to play. So guess who got voted off the island? And I played my heart out in that game, I'll tell you what. I was telling the other guy, I was like, I swear I'm trying. But I figured, yeah, okay, baseball is maybe it's not the thing for me. I've tried golf, which in my spiritual walk, especially testing my faith, golf tested my faith more than anything, because that is the most frustrating game you will ever play in your entire life. I can't tell you how many clubs are in the Frenchman Golf Club pond that I've snapped and just thrown in there. I was actually getting good until the coach told me that I needed to quit for my own well-being, because I was getting so mad and so frustrated. Cross country was another faith tester, because I didn't even practice. The coach was like, hey, you want to run in the state meet? I was like, yeah, how hard can it be? It can't be that hard. So he said, all right, get out early, get out in front. And I was like, all right, good. He was like, run your own race. I'm like, all right, good, I can do that. So the race started, the gun went off, and I was in the lead for the first 100 yards. I was moving. And I was like, man, these people are slow. They're not even close. I got this. So I got to the first mark that said 2.5 miles left. That's when I realized I'm not gonna make it. That was the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was cold. It was early. It was raining, kind of. I was throwing up. It was horrible. I've tried chess club. I got kicked out for not showing up at the practices. That was kind of embarrassing. When my faith is on the line, I trust that God is going to be there to help me through it. And there are times when I can't see him and I don't know he's there. But through those times, there always comes a moment that he comes through. And I always make it through, 100% of the time. That is how I know that God is here. And that is the faith that I live by. It says in 2 Corinthians to stay firm in your faith. Live the life God's called you to do. That's my challenge to you. Turn off the TV, put down your phone, and to take a breath of fresh air. And just look around and know that God is here.